No, we don't.
position.
I mean,
Are you kidding?
That's very sad, of course, but it is what it is.
No, it's not. Is what it is. It needs to happen now. We want to make sure we have both views, all views we can of what's happening on the table right now. But we can see pretty clearly this position, and it came out of
Four knights.
four knights
Four
Scotch?
knights.
No,
Scotch.
4 knights.
Yeah, four knights h3 is the line, and then black plays d5,
D5.
and it's like with colors reversed. I mean, I can try to show those ones on the board, but what's with PGN files, man? h3, d5, that's how it happens. Bishop to b5, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop d6, castles. No, he did castle. Castle, rook e1, rook e8, and d4. Bishop d7, and what did Magnus play? Rook to b1. Okay, so that's the one. But yeah, something happens to PGN. I do not care.
No, I think we have it now. We have it. It's up. And we have the current position and black to move, and he's played a6, chasing the piece out. Looks pretty standard position, no difficulties yet, although he is down on the clock by a pretty full 50 seconds there, as Magnus has to choose what he's going to do with his bishop. This one...
Mine is not updating, though, so that's a bit awkward. I have to tell a lot awkward, in fact. So I have to
Bishop
put those
D3
games.
played. Well, we can follow. I can keep you up to date, so we can come back to the board. And
Yeah, I'll try to solve it somehow.
No,
right?
well, I'm getting it, so there must be
yeah.
something on yours, on your table. But I'll just call the moves as it's played, so you can make them, so the fans can see it.
D3.
And takes on D4. Rook takes E8, played.
Rook traded. Yep.
And queen takes
Queen
on E8.
takes. So it does resemble the, what do you call it, some Petrov, right? Some Petrov lines,
With
destruction.
the knight
also.
C3 capture. And now knight G5.
Knight G5.
Played instead of capturing back immediately. Knight G5. That allows H6, which has quickly been played. And now knight to E4. That's a little bit of a pawn sacrifice. But is it any good to go after? Actually, no, it's not quite, because the B7 pawn is
Bishop
hanging
H6
after this move.
ideas, capturing on B7 ideas, everything.
So Hans has found queen to
E5,
guarding his bishop from having a weakness.
Threatening
being
H2.
doubled.
So white perhaps has to take.
Bishop gone from the board. So white has two bishops, so-called two bishops, advantage at the moment, although it doesn't look that dangerous.
Much of an advantage, right? Doesn't look that much of an advantage.
The biggest thing right now is that extra minute or so that Magnus has on the clock in this game. And so that is something Hans has started feeling. He's starting to push the pieces away on his right side. That usually is a little bit of a nervousness when you need to just stretch yourself a little bit. You want to get rid of those pieces that are in your way. And Magnus is now pausing. His time advantage is evaporating, not totally, but that's quite significant.
Okay.
He took on D4. Knight takes D4 immediately. And now rook takes on
B7
B7.
now.
Bishop C6.
Whoa. He just missed knight B5 trapping the rook, according to the machine. Knight B5 was winning.
Oh, my goodness.
Was winning for Hans Neiman. He
Whoa,
could go knight B5.
what?
That's a pin. You cannot take the knight.
Oh, my
Next
goodness.
move, Bishop C6 wins.
Absolutely right. Magnus blundered in that moment.
But Hans didn't take advantage
But Hans
of it.
did not notice it, and now he
Rook
has
back.
to be very careful. The threat is now after rook e8, bishop to e3. The threat is to take on d4, followed by bishop h7 if you take back. So Hans misses a win, but now has to make sure he plays correctly in order to keep the game in balance. And he's played his... Now he plays
Now you play
B5.
knight B5, yeah.
The heck? Threatening knight to c3 at the moment, but white's bishops look great, and queen
to G4.
G4 on the board.
So now knight C3 is no longer threatening. You will be able to move the rook.
Man, can you imagine just if he had played knight b5, he had found that move. What a story that would have been. But now the queen on g4, moves like queen f6 are coming, and he's now reaching for his piece. Bishop d7 played.
Chasing the queen, where the queen's supposed to go.
At least he dealt with any kind of mating ideas. Yeah, queen now
D4.
offering a trade.
How about some endgame? And in the endgame, in fact, a pair of bishops does make
Yes.
difference, right?
And the really like poor pawn structure that black has will favor the imbalance in pawn structures, usually favoring the bishop. And now he just moved his queen over to f6.
Okay, yeah. Queen
And
takes
that
this.
knight is just such a problem piece. And a4.
A4.
And he's only down to 16 seconds left, trying to survive this position as Magnus is starting to roll.
I'm afraid.
But he's
well,
not too happy as Magnus. I kind of weird little head bob there. He's got so many advantages on the clock, the two
Yeah.
bishops.
Yeah, I mean,
Board
White's
seems like the initiative. Why would he be concerned here? Just not clear on what move he should play. And he's playing
Queen
queen
A5.
a5. Attractive looking move. And he's hitting 2 pawns.
2 pawns, A6 and C7.
And Magnus said, I'm taking one of them.
I'm taking this one, C7.
And that's a freebie. And now, whoa.
Bishop
He's
takes A4.
taking on a4. And now, so it was queen. So it was knight f5, queen
Queen
c7.
C7, and bishop A4.
Bishop a4, bishop c5, and then knight to h4, sniffing around that side, but I don't see any real threats happening over there. And Magnus now looking maybe to play rook down. It looked like his hand was over his rook.
B4.
7 seconds left for
Rook
Hans
E8.
Neiman. He's got to take that rook. No, he doesn't actually.
No, he cannot take this. Right?
What's he going to do?
Queen G5 or Queen
Play
E6?
Queen e6.
Queen E6.
Yeah, taking the rook would have been a bad idea, actually. Now he's connected his queen. And what can Magnus do here? He's moved his king, and now bishop to c6.
King H2, bishop C6.
5 seconds for Hans, 38 seconds for Magnus. Magnus just needs one real threat that makes Hans pause, and he will win the game. But can he find it? He has 29 seconds. Ticking down, spending a lot of time for his next move. He's looking for that move right now. Can he make the move that freezes his opponent? And he's played Queen G3, and that knight has taken on G2. Bishop to D4, threatening mate.
G5.
And now a trade of rooks.
Do we like
And the
it
queen
for
back
Magnus?
down. And is he now going to win the game? Knight back. Oh, there's a knight f3 check threat. The game has turned. The game has turned because of knight f3. Magnus down to 15 seconds, and he cannot just
King
capture.
G3?
And now he has gone queen e6. That is safe for now. Magnus with 11 seconds, looking to play check. He has played bishop back, a bold move, given that he's pinned. But he is looking for more. And now Magnus is down to only 4 seconds. He's played F4
is a blunder, right?
And F5 on the board, takes on G5, and knight back. Both sides under 5 seconds. Magnus playing quickly here. They trade, and Magnus is currently taking pawns. A check, and now Magnus is looking like he's winning this position, I would think. The PGN
in the end game,
just can't keep up. Can Hans save this position as they're both blitzing right now? Knight back, bishop over, and how does that knight do anything? It's just, it's just such a bad situation. He's put it on G3. He's looking to try to get to E4, but he's not going to get there. He's come back and defended, and now he's going to take the pawn. Can he take on F6? No, not yet.
He decided not to.
But he can't take on the next move. He's decided to try to slow down the pawn, and Magnus moves over down F3 with check, saving that pawn, and now Magnus goes after the bishop. Bishop will move. What is the situation here? It doesn't look like White is winning necessarily. Wait a minute.
Why the F-pawn is alive, man?
The F-pawn is going down the board. The threat of bishop G2 forced him to move, and black is fine.
And
black
now
is fine. Magnus has to be
cannot
careful.
come to this F-pawn.
Bishop to F4, king to F5. He's played H5. Both, again, 5 seconds, just using the increment only. Can't be careful about stepping up. And they might be repeating soon, but he's not taking it as Hans. The bishop on F1 can't go anywhere. So Hans has all the security in the world to make a draw here. He's just moving around, not wanting to blunder. King E6, and they have agreed on a very dramatic draw. And then Magnus looks disgusted with himself, but Hans played amazing defense there to save that game, drawing the #1 player on the planet.
They've been